$3.11. The man who sold it to you keeps 13 cents. 45% of drivers think he keeps $2. He isn't hiding it. It's 13 cents. And 8.5 of the cents he never sees go to a card network, which owns no tank, no pump, and no canopy. Nobody in this business sells gasoline to make money on gasoline. Real numbers. Marked up. So what is it selling? Shift 1. Nobody sells gas for money. You own the corner. The sign out front is the loudest advertisement in town, and you don't control a single number on it. Start with the dollar the driver hands over. Half of it is crude oil. 51.4% before anybody refines anything. Half of it. Just oil. 16.5% is the refinery. 14% is tax, collected by you, kept by the state. That leaves 17.8% for everything between the refinery gate and your hand. The truck, the terminal, the jobber, and you. You are the last name on that list. Here's the part that surprises people. You don't own the gasoline in your own tanks until the moment you buy it at a price the brand sets. A branded dealer buys at the dealer tank wagon price. The brand names your terminal, names your additive, and takes a cut for the logo on the canopy. The jobber in the middle takes about a penny a gallon. Some take 4 or 5. So the retail margin, everything you gross on a gallon before a single bill is paid, runs about 35 cents. 6 cents to distribution, 8.5 to the cards, 6 more to run the fuel side, and 3 to wear and weather. 13 cents. 4% of what the driver handed you. A busy site pumps around 4,000 gallons a day. That's $520 from the entire forecourt, from open to close. You cannot pay a payroll with that. And that's the good version. 2025 was a record year. Margins averaged over 40 cents a gallon. The 13 cents is the good news, which is why every single one of these places is really a shop that happens to have plumbing outside. Shift 2. The hole in the ground. Before any of that, you have to buy one. And what you're buying is mostly dirt and a hole with steel in it. A ground-up store with fuel runs about $2.2 to $3.2 million. Fuel only, no building, is under 1.5. Put a kitchen in it, and you're past 4. The tanks are 8 to 14% of the build. $35,000 for a 10,000-gallon double-walled tank. $80,000 for the big one. Then somebody has to dig the hole and put it in. $80,000. One tank. You will never sell that tank to anybody. Most people don't build. They buy one that's already running, and a single site with the land under it goes for $750,000 to $3 million, priced at roughly 8 times what it earns. 30 to 45% of that price isn't the business at all. It's the land. In Florida, these trade at cap rates near 5%, which is what people pay for good real estate, not for a shop. You bought a corner. The pumps came with it, which is a perfectly good thing to own, right up until you look at what has to happen on it every day to pay the note. Shift 3. The store is the business. Walk 20 feet from the pump and the entire economics of this place invert. Same building, same owner, completely different business. American convenience stores sold $476 billion of fuel last year and $341 billion inside. Fuel is the bigger number. It isn't the bigger business. Prepared food is 28.5% of what sells inside, and 39% of the profit that comes out of it. Because the margin on a hot sandwich is about 55%. On a gallon of gas, it's 4. So the owner starts trying things. The first one is a machine that turns syrup and tap water into $1. Syrup, water, $1. Packaged drinks run about 43%, and they're the biggest single line of merchandise profit in the store. Then coffee, which is the same trick with a lid on it. Then candy, at better than 50%, sitting exactly where you queue to pay. None of that is an accident of layout. And behind the counter, the category that used to pay for everything. Cigarettes are an enormous share of what rings up, and a gross margin of about 15%. It's the worst paying wall in the building. And it's falling. Cigarette units were down 4% in the 12 weeks to March, while the price went up almost 6%. So the owner rebuilds the wall. Nicotine pouches, $13 billion and growing 13%. Same square foot. Better money. That's the whole job. Then there's the counter that isn't really yours at all. An average store sells about $8,000 of lottery a week, $416,000 a year across the counter. The retailer's commission is 5 or 6%, $20-odd thousand a year for running a state's gambling counter. I find that one genuinely funny. The state advertises it, you staff it, and you keep a nickel on the dollar. Every one of these is the owner reaching for another few points of margin, and every one of them costs him something. Wages and benefits are now $104,000 a month per store. 5 years ago, it was $80,000. A kitchen doesn't run itself at 4 in the morning. And then the problem fights back in the one number that decides all of this. Inside transactions fell 3% last year. Fewer people walked in than in 2023. The baskets got bigger. The basket got 8 cents less profitable. Fewer people, spending more, worth less. Which is why one company in Texas decided the answer was to stop being a gas station entirely. 75,000 square feet, 120 places to put a nozzle. It's the largest convenience store on Earth. And it sells the gasoline cheap on purpose. The fuel is the advertisement. The brisket is the business. Every corner store in America is running the same play at a fraction of the scale, and it works, right up until somebody counts what leaves. Shift 4. A fee on somebody else's tax. Go back to the 8.5 cents from the beginning. This is the part I'd want to know before I bought one of these. Almost nobody pays for gas with cash anymore. These stores run about 160 million transactions a day, and most of them are on a card. Everyone carries a percentage fee. Not a flat fee. A percentage. Which means when the pump price goes up, the fee goes up with it. Your margin doesn't. Last year, the industry paid $21.3 billion in card fees. A record. $21.3 billion. It is the second largest operating cost in the whole business. Only wages are bigger. Bigger than rent. Bigger than electricity. Bigger than the gasoline losses everybody complains about. And then there's the $4.6 billion, which is the number I couldn't get out of my head. 14% of the pump price is tax. You collect it. It was never your money. It goes to the state. You still pay a card fee on it. $4.6 billion a year in fees charged on somebody else's tax. $1.05 of every swipe fee this industry pays for processing a transfer between you and the government. The station keeps 13 cents a gallon. The card networks take 8.5 without owning anything on the lot. 65 cents of theirs for every dollar of yours. And unlike crude, or weather, or the store across the road, there is nothing an owner can do about this one. Shift 5. The date on the calendar. This business survives crude crashes. It survived a year when nobody drove anywhere. Here's what actually kills it. In 2014, California passed a law about steel nobody can see. Every single walled underground tank in the state had to be permanently closed, removed from the ground, or filled and sealed where it lay. Owners had 11 years to do it. By August 2024, more than 2,000 of them were still in the ground and still pumping. 2,000 tanks. One date. Not because nobody read the letter. Because digging out a tank field and putting a new one in is a 7-figure job on a site that nets 13 cents a gallon. The deadline was the 31st of December, 2025. Miss it, and the penalty is $500 to $5,000 a day, per tank. A business killed by a date for steel you can't see. And the reason that law exists is sitting under a lot of these places already. 583,000 confirmed releases from underground tanks in the United States. Confirmed, not suspected. The average cleanup is $154,000. Hit drinking water and it's years and millions. State funds have paid about $20 billion of it since 2002. The tank is the only part of this business that can bankrupt you after you've sold it. And the count is going the wrong way. There are 151,975 of these stores left, 280 fewer than the year before. The second annual fall in a row. Shell alone said it would shut about 1,000 of its own sites and put the money into charging cars instead. The oil companies are leaving the forecourt. Shift 6. Why 100,000 people still do it? If this arithmetic is landing, hit the like button. It's free, and it's the only thing I ask for. Because after all of that, 122,000 American stations still sell fuel every morning. And 95,000 of them, 63%, belong to somebody who owns 10 stores or fewer. 63%, family-owned. This is still, overwhelmingly, a family business. In-store sales have now grown for 23 years in a row. Not one of those years was about gasoline. You aren't buying a fuel business, you're buying the busiest corner in a small town and the right to sell coffee on it. That's a real thing to own. It just isn't the thing on the sign. So here is the gallon, all of it, in one picture. If this is your kind of arithmetic, I ran the same numbers on a coffee shop and on an airline. Both of those are on the channel. Real numbers, real sources. That's marked up, $3.11. The man who sold it to you kept 13 cents and paid a fee on the tax.